very different environment. They're much older than mostly what we've been talking about. These are rocks that are deposited during the Permian period geologic history, a couple 100 million years ago. During that time period, that area that's covered by the gyp hills is sort of an embayment that water could flow into, and at times that water, the source of that water got cut off, that water would evaporate and would leave behind rock units that geologists call, for obvious reasons, evaporites. So things like, probably the best known one is salt. But gypsum and other kinds of rocks get deposited at the bottom of that old embayment, and they underlie a lot of Kansas. Now, in some places they're in the subsurface. That salt is mined in Hutchinson and Lyons and Canopolis. But where you see those rocks exposed at the surface is the red hills in that area down around, particularly Medicine Lodge and on to the west. There, the gyp hills cap those hills. Again, it's gypsum that when it was deposited, those are flat-lying rocks, differential erosion, then removed rock in between the hills, so it sculpted these hills. What's really making them striking is partly the way the formations look, but also their color. That, in addition to being known as the gyp hills, it's also known as the red hills, because very many of those rocks that are deposited, not so much the gypsums, but the siltstones and the sandstones, are stained red by iron oxide. So if you drive throughout those hills, they have a deep red, very striking color. So you get this combination of butte and mesa topography from the gypsum that is capping the tops of those hills, and then the stained iron oxide color just forms a very dramatic landscape. Look, really in many respects looks more like Arizona and New Mexico than it does Kansas. Clark County is kind of spectacular, partly because there's deep erosional features there, and so a steep-sided canyon. Especially if you come into Clark County State Lake from the west, it's like you don't even know this exists, and all of a sudden the country just drops off and forms this canyon. The other thing that's really spectacular in a geologic sense about Clark County State Lake is how many different units you can see in place in a small amount of area there. Some hills that are capped by Ogallala Formation not very far away, along with all these Permian rocks that are there, and I have to go back and check, but I think there are even some Cretaceous things that crop out there as well. So really within the space of almost sometimes a few hundred yards, you can see 200 million years worth of geologic history. Kansas, has this reputation as being fairly flat and featureless and not very, interesting geologically. And certainly there are parts of the high plains in the rest of the state where I'd say, yeah, I can understand that reputation. What I would say to people is get off the big highways, get off of I-70, get off the turnpike, open your eyes, take a little bit of time, and see what's out there.
The prairie is kind of an acquired taste. We don't have huge mountains, we don't have ocean beaches and whatnot, but the prairie is appreciated in its details, in its fine details. And sometimes you have to actually get down at that level in order to appreciate it fully, appreciate all the variety of pollinating insects and other insects that live there, the variety of flowering plants, over 800 flowering plant species in Kansas alone, and most of those are prairie species, either tallgrass or shortgrass prairie species. Each one has figured out how to live here. Each one has learned through trial and error and over the millennia what it takes to survive in this place, and each one has valuable lessons to teach us about how we can survive here too.
Welcome everyone, I'm Thad Beach and we're going to take a little train ride. Thank you. Well, that's a little bit of I've been working on the railroad, and of course a lot of you kids, I know you know what this is because a lot of you play them. This is my ukulele. Some people call it ukulele. I call it a ukulele. That's what I grew up calling it. And of course this little thing right here is a harmonica, and I know a lot of you kids might have a harmonica around the house too. Mine's got the little letter C written on it, so if you happen to have a C harmonica, that's what I just did. Watch this thing again, you play right along with me. Now, we're going to move on to another song, and today, you can probably guess by my hat, we're going to do a lot of things about trains. So we're going to do some train songs, and harmonicas are really great for train songs. Now, this next song's kind of interesting because it's a true story. I travel around to schools and help kids make up songs about the history of their area where they live. And I was out in western Kansas, and I met a man named Denny in a town called Scott City, and he told me a story about when he was a little kid. It was during World War II, and they had these trains that came through the town. And on these trains were all the soldiers traveling from across the country. Now they had to stop the trains every now and then to get some water and coal, but the soldiers couldn't get off. So the soldiers would always be there looking out the windows, and Denny started going around town collecting magazines, and he'd collect some batteries and other things you could get money for if you took them down to the recycling. Well, he'd take that money and buy candy. So when the soldiers came in, he'd give them some candy and give them magazines to read up through the windows. Well, some of the soldiers threw down pennies, nickels, and dimes, and he'd go get some more candy. And the next train came through, he'd do the same thing. I just thought that was a really great thing for a little kid to do to help everybody out. Now, I've got a part for you to sing along on this. It goes like this. Chugga, 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 choo, choo. Let's give it a little try. Chugga, 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 choo, choo. Chugga, 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 choo, choo. Chugga, 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 choo, choo. Troop trains ready to roll. I had a big morning, I made my rounds, pulling my wagon around the town, collecting papers and magazines, making the neighbors' doorbells ring. Troop train, the whistles blow. Stop for water and coal. Grab that wagon, here we go. Troop trains, ready to roll. Chugga, 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 choo, choo. Chugga, 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 choo, choo. Troop trains, ready to roll. I found a battery from a truck. I traded it in and I got a buck. I found a battery for a car, 50 cents for my money jar. Troop trains, the whistles blow. Stop for water and coal. Grab that wagon, here we go. Troop trains, ready to roll. Chugga, 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 choo, choo. Chugga, 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 choo, choo. Chugga, 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 choo, choo. Troop trains, ready to roll. Now I can't fight, I'm only 10, but I buy candy for the men. The windows open and the arms come down. Candy goes up and the coins roll down. Troop trains, the whistles blow. Stop for water and coal. Grab that wagon, here we go. Troop trains, ready to roll. Help me out. Trains ready to roll. Now the train pulls out and the church bells chime. We pick up our nickels and dimes. We fill our pockets, head to the store, buy some candy, we're ready for more. Troop trains, the whistles blow. Stop for water and coal. You grab that wagon, here we go. Troop trains ready to roll. Troop trains ready to roll. Ah, pretty good chugging and pretty good train whistles there. Good job. Well, I know some of you might know a friend that I'd like to introduce to you next. And the reason he came today, well, this is my good friend, Mr. R. And I was just wondering if anybody had an idea why Mr. R came today when I was doing these songs. Well, it's because of this letter on his shirt, which is the letter R. And that's the same letter that starts our big word today called railroad. Now, Mr. R is going to dance one of his favorite songs. It's a song called The New River Train, and it goes like this. Are you ready, Mr. R? Oh, that's how he says yes. Are you sure you're ready? Oh, how about this? Why don't you take a bow, Mr. R, and maybe all those kids you know out watching on their TVs today can give you a good dance, Mr. R, for me. Let's give it a try. He said you need to say it a little bit louder. One more time. Dance, Mr. R. He said that's better, but one last time. I think she'll have it. Oh, you got it. I'm riding on that new river train. I'm riding on that new river train. That same old train that brought me here will carry me away again. Oh, nice job, Mr. R, nice job. Well, my good friend Mr. R is an old-time toy called a lumberjack, and he's a dancing man, so he's pretty talented. He's a dancer and he's a musician because when he taps his feet, he keeps a pretty good rhythm too. Well, Mr. R, I'm going to put you right there so you can catch your breath, and we're going to move on to another song here. Oh, and this one's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. Another place I went to and wrote some songs about railroads with kids was way out in western Nebraska. It's a little town called Alliance. And when I drove into Alliance the night I was getting into town, I was 20 or 25 miles away and I could see the bright lights shining. Now, I thought this was just kind of a little town, you know, maybe 10, 15,000 people. It wasn't that big of a town. I wondered why everything was so bright. Well, when I came into town, there was a gigantic railroad yard there where they took care of all the trains. And when you're in that town, trains are just coming and going all the time. There's a big giant coal mine out in Wyoming, and they've got these big train cars that just shoot through there all the time. And they're coming and going. They go off east and then they come back empty. And you're just always seeing trains. And most of the kids' parents, a lot of them, had jobs with the railroad. Now, as we listen to this song today, I'm going to want you to think about some of the different jobs you hear about. Then when the song's over, I'm going to maybe ask if you can remember some of them. Well, I'm going to switch out my harmonicas, put a little different one in there, and we are going to do a song called Watch Those Big Wheels Turn. Down at the railroad yard, watching the railroad cars. We switch them out, we get them ready to roll. We sending them down the track, clickety, clickety, clack. 100 cars, 100 tons of coal. You hear the whistles, smell the diesel burn, feel the ground shaking, watch those big wheels turn. At the Alliance shop, the work it never stops, 24/7, dusk to dawn. The yard lights shining bright all through the night. Those trains, they keep rolling on. Oh, help me out here. You hear the whistles, smell the diesel burn. You feel the ground shaking. Watch those big wheels turn. There's conductors and carmen. A track crew just came in, replacing rails, taking out old ties. There's a welder with his mask. He's busy at his task. He's making sparks fly. Here we go. Hear the whistles, smell the diesel burn, feel the ground shaking, watch those big wheels turn, watch those big wheels turn. My dad has to work tonight. He tucked me in real tight. While I'm asleep, Dad earns his pay. Orange reflector vest, he's out to do his best. Burlington, Northern Santa Fe. Oh, one more time. Hear the whistles, smell the diesel burn, feel the ground shaking, watch those big wheels turn, watch those big wheels turn. Smell the diesel burn. Feel the ground shaking. Watch those big wheels turn. Watch those big wheels turn. Thank you. Yeah, a lot of those kids had moms and dads that worked for the railroad. Let's see about it. There was 2 jobs started with C. One was conductor, but there was another one. Conductors in car man. And then there were some people that were on a crew, and they were taking out rail ties, and they were called the track crew. There was a guy wearing a mask that was making the sparks fly. Anybody remember what his job was? He had that big fiery torch, and he was called a welder. You got it. Maybe one of your parents is a welder or do some welding. So there's a whole lot of jobs out there on the railroad. And just like the town we're in right now today, Salina, everybody knows in Salina there's a lot of railroad tracks we go over all the time. And if you just go a few miles north of where I am right now, a few blocks north, you're going to come to the railroad tracks, and you're going to see a little station, the same railroad we sang about in that song, the Burlington Northern Santa Fe. They've got a little spot right up here to the north where they do some work on the trains when they're coming through. Some of us probably been stuck up there at the tracks waiting for them to get their work done. But that's one called Watch Those Big Wheels Turn from Alliance, Nebraska. Now, if you like this kind of music, you can always go to my website, thadbeachmusic.com. I've got lots of stuff for free, songs to listen to, videos, and you can even watch troop trains again and sing along with it, since you're getting pretty good about knowing about that. Well, let me put my ukulele down now, and I'm going to get a little bit different of an instrument going here. I am just going to use my harmonica. I'm going to take that one off my neck, and I'm just going to play a harmonica and do a little train song. Now, what we're going to do with that is, if any of you have harmonicas at home, you're going to want to know the most fun thing to do is go like this. And when you do your hand like that, you do your train whistle. People will think you're a pretty good harmonica player if all you can do is go. They'll say, oh man, that person does a good train whistle. Then you can get even better. You can do the chug. Now, I like to do it breathing in and breathing out a couple times each way. You get that little pattern going, and then when you go like this, you get your train whistle going. Now, it looks a lot better when you pull down, you know, like the engineer would to blow that whistle. Well, I'll just do it like this. This is much better. Don't you agree? I think so. Now, we're going to take a trip today. We're going to head west. We're all going to get on board. You don't have to buy a ticket. I got you all taken care for. You just come on board, sit down. Now, along the way, we're going to pass some different places where there's a lot of different sounds, and they're pretty fun sounds. Why, we're going to pass a fire station. We're going to pass, a daycare where there's a bunch of babies. We're going to pass the dog pound where there's some barking dogs. We're going to pass a truck stop where there's some of them big 18-wheelers and big old semis, you know, that go down the road. And we're even going to pass a chicken farm. Now, after we get out of town, we're going pretty far west. We're going to make it all the way to a big mountain. And you'll probably notice when we get up that mountain, it's a pretty hard job. And we might slow down. I hope we can make it over that mountain. And then we'll go down the other side and get to where we're stopping. Now, when we get done with our trip, I'd like you to try to remember if you can figure out which of my sounds represented some of the places that we drove by on our train. So, everybody hold up your ticket. Let's see. Oh, you got your ticket backwards over there. Oh, your ticket's upside down. When they come by to punch your ticket, be sure to just hold them up like this the right way. You won't be able to see. The person that's looking at it needs to see it. So everybody hold your tickets up there. You got your tickets? Looking good, looking good. All aboard. Headed west. Everybody off. Ah, good job. Well, let me see. One of the first places we stopped was this sound, or places we drove by. Yep, fire station siren. Oh, how about this one? That's the crying baby. Mama, I want a drink of water. So we were going by the daycare. You got that one right. Oh, how about this one? Even gave you a little clue. I threw the frisbee for the dog, you know. Oh, how about this one? Oh, that's it. That's the truck stop. You got it. That big old 18-wheeler. Oh, I might have left one out. I think I left one out. I left out the chicken farm. Oh, we got to go back. Let's head on back to Salina. All aboard, back to Salina. For Salina, Kansas. Ah, good job. Well, friends, we're moving along pretty good. I'm going to put my harmonica rack back on because I would like to play one final train song using my bucket bass. Now, my bucket bass here, some of you might know how to make one. This is an old wooden broom handle, and I drilled a couple holes in it, and you thread your string through there. You drill a hole in your bucket, and you put your string through. Then you have to tie a knot on the bottom so it doesn't come back out. Then you decorate it up however you feel. Today I felt like train stuff, so I got some of my little train logos on there. Oh boy, Yep, there's the Burlington Northern Santa Fe. There's Santa Fe, Union Pacific. That one came through Salina. But the next song we're going to do is about this one right here. It's a song called the Rock Island Line, and it's a lot of fun. It goes like this. Now I'm going to keep a good beat going with the bucket. And you can help sing along because it goes, the Rock Island Line. Well, the Rock Island Line, it's a mighty good road. Rock Island Line is the road to ride. Rock Island Line, it's a mighty good road. If you want to ride, you gotta ride it like you find it. Get your ticket at the station at the Rock Island Line. I said A, B, C, and X, Y, Z. Now the cat's in the cradle, but he can't see me. The Rock Island Line, it's a mighty good road. Rock Island Line, it's a road to ride. Rock Island Line, it's a mighty good road. If you want to ride, you gotta ride it like you find it. Get your ticket at the station at Rock Island Line. Thanks everybody for watching today. Maybe this show will be on again sometime. Grab your harmonica, grab your ukulele, make a bucket bass, get some shakers, tap on some cans, shake some jars, make some noise with me. So thank you so much for watching today and getting on the train and helping us out today. I'm going to take it on down the track. Here we go. Well, the Rock Island Line, it's a mighty good road. Rock Island Line, it's a road to ride. The Rock Island Line, it's a mighty good road. You want to ride, you gotta ride it like you find it. Get your ticket at the station at the Rock Island Line. Get your ticket at the station at the Rock Island Line. Get your ticket at the station at the Rock Island Line. I'm Thad Beach. Thank you so much. Thad Beach Music, check it out. Thank you. See you again sometime.
Hello, my friends, and welcome once again to Storytime at the Zoo. My name is Miss Lori, and this week we are going to be reading Grendel's Great Escape. That looks like a ferret. Now, for those of you who've been to the zoo before, you know that we have a ferret. So let's read the story, and then after it, Miss Jessica's going to bring out the ferret and talk about it, okay? Let's get started. Martin jumped out of bed the second time his alarm sounded. Landing in the midst of some scattered toys, Martin looked frantically around the room. He stumbled over many piles of clothes as he hunted for his favorite monster t-shirt. He's in his PJs. It's 7 o'clock. Oh, there's that monster t-shirt. Looks like the laundry monster was here last night, Martin mumbled. Oh, I can't worry about that now. I've got to find my backpack. He finally saw the backpack on his desk. On the way to get it, Martin tripped over his skateboard. The laundry monster swayed, threatening to topple over on him. I'd better put those in the closet. Martin thought. Oh, I'll do it later. Before throwing the backpack over his shoulder, Martin tossed in some ferret food and toys. He quickly opened the cage door, hoping to lure Grendel into the front pouch. The ferret made a mad dash toward the door instead. Martin needed him for show and tell. Grendel, however, was not cooperating. Martin finally cornered him in the kitchen. Mom handed Martin the leash and reminded him that ferrets weren't allowed to run freely around. Oh, there goes Grendel. There's the leash. Goodness. Martin grabbed his backpack and raced toward the school bus. There isn't enough time to put on Grendel's leash, Martin thought. Oh, I'll take care of it later. Perfect timing, Gus commented as he closed the creaky bus door. Martin high-fived his friends as he walked to the back, plopping into the first empty seat he could find. Whoop. There's Grendel. There's all Martin's friends. Later, during art class, Martin splashed colors around on his latest masterpiece. This is a lot of fun, he said. Miss Mason smiled while carefully avoiding a paint puddle. Time for show and tell, Miss Emily announced after math class. Martin, you will go first. He opened the backpack, reached in, and pulled out, oh my, an empty harness. Grendel has to be around here somewhere, Martin said. Miss Emily shook her head. You better find that ferret before Mr. B sees him running around. Oh boy, there's the art. Oh no, no ferret. The principal was a huge bear of a man whose deep growl could be heard throughout the school. Mr. B prowled the hallways in search of tardy children. Martin planned on staying clear of him. Oh, goodness. He kind of does look like a big bear, doesn't he? Ooh, he's going around. Roar. He had a missing ferret to find. Where should he start? Over by the ball bin? Where could Grendel be? At recess, Martin asked Chris and Maya for help, promising to let them play with the Mega Monster and Mousy balls. They looked in the desks and under the chairs. Maya peeped into the supply closet. Was Grendel hiding in the coats? Hunting for snacks in Miss Emily's bag? Where could Grendel be? He's not there. He's not there. Martin checked the hallway to see if Mr. B was prowling around. He motioned to Chris and Maya. Come on, the coast is clear, he said. The search party headed toward the art room. They were eager to see if Grendel was in there, hiding out. Oh, trying to keep away from Mr. B. There's Maya, and there is Chris, and there's Martin. Okay. He's got to be around here somewhere, said Martin. Was Grendel all snug and cozy in the yarn bin? Maybe he was nibbling on the coloring books, over by the paints. Where could Grendel be? Martin's tummy rumbled as they entered the cafeteria. The lunch lady ran out of the kitchen with a broom. Shoo! Shoo! She shouted out loud. We can't have that animal running around in here. Grendel ran across the tables and through the door. Well, he wasn't in there. They knew. They didn't know. Oh, ho, ho, ho. there's Grindel, and he's on a table, a cafeteria table. There's the lunch lady. The frantic ferret ran down a flight of steps and collided into Mo. Grindel scurried to his pant leg and started to climb. Although he was startled, the janitor was quick to react. "Get out of there!" Mo shouted as he frantically tried to shake Grindel out. Oh, here comes Grindel. And there's Mo, the janitor. Oh no! He's going up a pant leg. Woohoo! "He went that way," said Maya, pointing to the teacher's lounge. Grindel was snacking on a cookie when the gym teacher noticed him. "Out! Shoo!" she shouted out loud. "Get out of here! We can't have a ferret running around here." Martin got there just in time to see Grindel run by. "Oh, look! Get out of here, Grindel! Shoo! Shoo, Grindel!" Grindel felt right at home in the lost and found room. Unfortunately, it was right next to Mr. B's office. The children had to get Grindel without being seen by the grisly Mr. B. Once inside, Martin called out to Grindel. Was he in the hoodie bin? Maybe on the toy shelf? Where could Grindel be? Chris spotted the snoozing ferret over by the coat rack. "Gotcha!" Martin yelled happily, hugging Grindel tight. So look, oh, there he goes in. Oh boy, there's Mr. B. And oh, there he is. There's Grindel sleeping. Martin was finally ready for show and tell. With Grindel's harness securely in place, he showed the class how to play with a ferret. He felt really lucky to have found his pet, and there wouldn't be any growling by the grisly Mr. B. Oh my, how about, there it is. Oh look, there he is. And he's got his leash on. And show and tell how to take care of a ferret. The end. Well, thank you so much for joining me. And remember, Miss Jessica's next, right now, with the ferret. See you next time. Bye.
I want to thank Miss Lori for reading Grendel's Great Escape, featuring the ferret. I have with me today our education ambassador, Miss Taz. She is our domestic ferret. And ferrets are really good at escaping because they can fit through just about anything that their head can. So they have very flexible bodies, and that's why in a lot of countries they're used for what they call ferreting. And that helps them in the wild as well. What ferreting is they actually send these guys, or ferrets in different other countries, down into rabbit holes, because in other countries rabbits are considered a big nuisance. So they'll send them down and they'll chase the rabbits out, because these guys are able to maneuver through those tight burrows and tunnels that the rabbits have. So Taz works very, very hard on her hula dance, is what we call it for her. And I'm going to show you a little bit of her flexible spine here. So there's her hula dance. She works very, very hard at it. So you'll have to let me know and comment below on what you think about her hula dance. She also is very flexible. I can fold her completely in half, and as you can see, she's quite comfortable just checking out her surroundings, and she doesn't really care. And that's because they have a very flexible spine. That helps them navigate through different tight quarters that we wouldn't be able to. They actually are professionals, because in many different countries, ferrets are used to go through tight conduit, or it's a big fancy word for plastic pipe that wires would go through. And they will put on special little harnesses, and these guys will go through and pull the wires through because they love to be busy. Now these guys actually sleep 14 to 16 hours a day. Who would like to sleep that long? Now these guys, even though she's cute and cuddly, she's going to be a carnivore. Now a carnivore is an animal who eats only meat. So she has very sharp teeth, And in the wild, they eat small rodents. Now, up until World War II, these guys were used to control the mouse population around the grain bins, because since they're carnivores and they eat those mice, these guys were able to help the farmers. They were also thought to be used for NASA to help also put the wires through on the space shuttles. So these guys have a very, very important job, except they got kind of fired from NASA because they kept falling asleep. Like I said, they like to sleep 14 to 16 hours a day. Now these guys are a relative to a very important ferret that we have here in Kansas, and it's actually the black-footed ferret. These guys are a little bit smaller than the black-footed ferret, but not by much. And the black-footed ferrets are actually in Logan County, Kansas, and their diet consists of 91% prairie dogs. Now they'll go down in their burrows at night and they'll eat the sleeping prairie dogs. So that is their main diet, when these guys are going to be, their main diet is going to be small rodents. These guys can live about 5 to 10 years. So in the wild, they live a little bit less because they do have predators. So the black-footed ferrets in the wild live between 1 to 3 years. If you guys have any other questions about the domestic ferret or the black-footed ferrets, I encourage you to comment below and we'll be happy to answer your questions. Till next time, friends.
Hello guys, coming from the Salina Art Center to you, my name's Kayla. So I'm very excited today to be with you guys for our art project. So we're doing an art and project inspired Matisse. He's a French artist and he is known for many things. He's done painting, sculpture, collage, you name it. He's very printmaking. He's mainly known for painting in his earlier years. And then as he got older, he couldn't paint anymore. So he started cutting paper and doing collage. His apprentices would paint sheets of paper for him with gouache, and then he would go in and he would cut these. We're going to be doing a project called Drawing with Scissors. So, guess what? No pencils. We're only going to be drawing with scissors. I'm so excited. Okay, so let's get started. Here's Matisse work that we're using for inspiration. So we'll put that right here. There you go. So he took those pieces of paper that he had painted, so like mine here, and he cut it into it. I did a little example earlier kind of what we need to be doing. So I took my cut paper and I started a symbol. I don't think I'm quite done with this one. Wonderful. Okay, so over here, I kind of start painting, but we'll just keep going on it. So this is just like a heavyweight paper. We just don't want to use like copy paper or something because it cannot hold the paint. So try to find like a mixed media paper, something that's like heavier. Okay, I'm doing this in paint. Because that's what Matisse did. He did it in a paint form. But you do not have to do it in paint. All you need is just colored surface. So you can do construction paper, you could do watercolor, you could do colored pencils, anything. You just need like pieces of paper. I really like the wet on wet, mixing the blending of the colors on the surface. That's why I like the technique of the paint. Okay, so I'm gonna use, I think, some purple and some yellow. So you're just going to begin step one. You're going to begin painting your piece of paper. You just want to fill sheets of paper up with paint. You got to get that color. So you could do like so many of these. You can do like 12 of them and then go from there. So remember, Okay, so I have a dirty brush, and if I dip it in another color, it's gonna muddy your paint. So remember to have your water cup by you. And I'm gonna switch colors, so I'm gonna rinse this out. And I have paper towels. I have paper towels to wipe my brush on to get that excess water out. Okay, now I'm gonna add some orange up here. You can allow these colors to blend together, or you can keep them separate. It's up to you. Get some yellow. I'm starting to. So we just launched Summer Art. We're super excited about it. If you go on to www.salinaartcenter.org, you can enroll for Summer Art. So we're just so glad that we can offer this for you guys. So we're offering 3 things this summer. One is the at-home art kits. You can purchase a kit, and then at your own pace and time, you can do the kit. And then we're offering Zoom online art classes. So if you don't feel comfortable going out in public, you can do this at home, which will be so fun to do at home. And you get a Zoom live with a teacher, and they'll walk through the project with you. And then again, you have to come pick up your art supplies at the Salina Art Center. And then next, we're doing in-person classes. So we'll only be offering one in-person class for the next 6 weeks. So we start June 16th, and then we'll go clear to like the 24th of July. And we'll be offering one in-person class a week. So we're super excited about all this, and that we can bring art to you guys. Okay, so I think you guys have seen enough of me painting. So that's what I'll just keep doing. I will fill so many pieces of paper full of color, and that's what you'll do. And then you have to let it dry. So you're gonna have to take a break. I know that's hard, but you're gonna have to like take a break. You're gonna have to let it dry. Okay, and then you're gonna come back. So I did this beforehand, and this is the paper I did. So now the next step. We're done painting. Okay, so this is where we get to the fun part. We are drawing with scissors. Okay, so you gotta think of like the shape and what you want. So I think I'm gonna cut a star. I'm just gonna go for it. Just take your scissors, take your paper, relax and go. Don't aim for perfection. And you can always, like, I'm gonna cut this down because it's a little big. Oh, there we go. Look at that. I love it. It's so wonky. Okay. What else do I want to do? Oh, I'm going to do a leaf. Kind of like his leaf. I'm going to go for that. Like, I'm going to cut this down. Don't be afraid to cut your paper in squares. So, again, I'm just envisioning that leaf, just cutting it out. And a lot of these cutouts that Matisse did was abstract. And if you don't want to do abstract, you don't have to. You can make a scene of something. So here's my little leaf. Here's my little star. Okay, so then you'll have another piece of paper. So you'll get another piece of paper. Okay, so this is the fun part. Now we're gonna take glue. Elmer's glue works good. And an old paintbrush. That's what you want, an old paintbrush. You can use a little cup, or you can go straight from the bottom bottle. I have a tendency I just go from the bottom, but I'm gonna pour a little bit of glue in the cup like this. Okay. So we're gonna dip it in the glue. There we go. Okay. And then, where do we want this? I'll put it like right there. So you glue him down. Okay, now do you see how he's curling? So this is a form of like decoupaging. So you're gonna take like some of the Elmer's glue and you're gonna paint over him. And do you see now how that goes flat? And you're going to decoupage with the glue all over the leaf. Wonderful. You might, I think I need more glue under there, so you can just get some more. You might have to push it down with your finger. There you go. See how that seals up? Wonderful. Exactly like that. Smooth it all out, and then you just let it dry, and you're good to go. Now we'll glue on the star. I want these to go close beside each other. I want them to overlap. Oh, awesome. Look at that. There you go. And again, you're gonna have to probably push those down because this is heavier paper. Oh, look. Wonderful. And I'm just gonna keep going. So I'll keep cutting out shapes. Maybe I want some zigzags or big blocks. I'll probably do some different big shapes to go in, and probably finish that little guy. And that's it. That's it for today. Wonderful. I hope you guys enjoy this and you keep doing it. And you learned about Matisse today. I hope you guys have a good day. Please check out our website about summer art. Follow our Facebook. We have a ton of art projects on there. Bye, guys.
Thank you for watching Kids Connection. Make sure to watch it next time.
Welcome to Baby Blue Arts Presents. I'm Lori Patton, and I'm delighted to have the OK Factor with us today. Olivia and Carla, the O and the K in OK Factor, do something very special with their music. At first glance, seeing a traditional classical cello and violin, you'd think they were a classical duo. And while they certainly can be classical, their style also blends other genres. The result is delightful, refreshing, and very much their own. Today, the OK Factor is performing primarily original compositions, and we'll hear a little bit about them as we go along. We bring you the OK Factor.